Live from high above Brands Hatch, we say good afternoon, sim racing fans, and welcome to those of you joining us right here on RaceSpotTV for coverage of Season 4 of the 2019 Pro Mazda Championship, right here from Kent in the United Kingdom. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Cisco Scaramuza. On call, I'm out of the bullpen tonight here from Podium Esports here, joining you guys here on RaceSpotTV and iRacing Live here to bring you coverage of the third race of this championship. Of course, your usual cast and crew not able to join us here. They're a little bit tired. That whole Bathurst race that is going on. So we're giving them the night off. We're going to hopefully have a little bit of fun here as we get set to take on what should be a fantastic race here from one of the meccas of touring car racing. But this time, there's no TCRs out there. We're using the Pro Mazda. Of course, the car is famously known for being one of the rungs on the ladder of the open wheel championship for those of you in North America. What used to be, this car formerly the car used in that ladder. It's the one right before Indy Lights, I guess you would think to say. But as cars continuing their qualifying efforts here, about 5 minutes left to go in the qualifying session. We'll take a quick look at the schedule right now as we take a look. You saw Laguna Seca live here on RaceSpotTV back on the 14th. These guys ran at Watkins Glen. We'll run you through your points coming out of that race as well. Right now we're at Brands Hatch. Coming up next is, well, we mentioned Bathurst. That's where we're going for round number 4. That should be interesting. Interlagos, Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace coming up. That'll be your next broadcast. And it goes quiet here on RaceSpotTV through New Hampshire, Nürburgring, Road Atlanta, and Silverstone. And before we head to Zandvoort, Barcelona, and Phillip Island, those last 3 races will be broadcast. It's going to be an open wheel mecca of November, so we're looking forward to that. We'll take a quick look at the points here as about 4 minutes left to go as we take a look at the times on the left side of the screen there briefly, but we'll take a look at your point standings. And Martin right now leading the way out of Club Benelux, and then Harley Lewis right behind him in that second place position there. So you take a look at your point standings here, as this is going to be a little bit of a interesting kind of breakup of the classes. You take a look at those drivers that are on track. Your top driver out of the Club Benelux, your second driver out of Club Canada, Italy, represented with Andrea Sini there, Scott McIntyre out of Club Canada, and then Central Eastern Europe for Gabriel Perez, as well as Jean-Michel out of France, Australia, and New Zealand out of Cobus there. So a very widespread of just the location of these drivers here as we look about 3 minutes, 20 seconds left here on your qualifying session. We ride on board with Scott McIntyre as he comes through that first hairpin here at Brands Hatch, a very, very iconic circuit as he heads through Graham Hill Bend up the Cooper Straight now towards Surtees. Of course, if we were on the shorter Indy circuit here, we'd be making that right-hander through McLaren. Not the case, though. We'll head down the hill through Pilgrim's Drop and towards Hawthorne once again, and just under the bridge there. And you have this is the longest straightaway here in this whole section, so these guys are going to have to keep their speed up as they head through Hawthorne's and down the Derek Minter Straight towards Westfield here. Really sharp right-hander. It's almost a double apex, and you can see Scott McIntyre nearly running off there as he head through Dingle Dell. Of course, the former chicane here, now the Sheen Curve, and up to Sterling's now. We ride on board. You can take a look at the lap time, just cresting 1 minute as we head down the hill toward Clearways here and Clark Curve, Jim Clark Curve, the final corner on this racetrack before we head onto the Brabham Straight and across the start-finish line. It's going to be a decent lap going for McIntyre across the line, a 17.429. That'll put him that'll actually be his quickest lap there. We saw the 0.5 was it before, but Scott McIntyre going to go to the top of the board once again. So your driver in the 4th place position in the points, setting to look like he's going to have an excellent starting position on the grid. A couple more minutes left to go. If you are curious about the timing, RaceSpotTV/timing is where you can find that. You saw it on the bottom of your screen. You'll see that throughout the broadcast tonight. That's where you'll want to go in case of watching right now, watching another driver heading around the racetrack right now. That's coming through and down the hill once again. The orange and white car as the lower third comes up. There we go. as Danny Garcia, the number 19, sitting in the 19th position right now, out of Club Iberia. So this driver looking for a little bit more in this qualifying time. We'll see if he can find it, as he's still running through, I believe that was Westfield and down Dingle Dell once again into Sheen. Yep, okay, didn't lose myself that time, but waiting on about a minute left to go here in this qualifying time. You can take a look. There's your current lap time as we head through Sterling's now and down through towards Clearways under the Advan Bridge, the Yokohama Bridge, as well as head through Clark Curve once again. It's like it's going to be a decent lap for Garcia, just not quite in the cards of what he's looking for. He ran a 121 before, and not really going to be able to pick up a whole lot there. A 121.1, that won't really help Garcia out. It's a better time. Car in front of him ran a 120.6, so not quite world championship times there for Danny Garcia. Harley Lewis, your second place driver in the points, still on track at the moment as he heads through, there we go, getting lost once again. That's Clark Curve now. No, actually, no, that was down back over in Westfield, down Dingle Dell once again and into Sheen. We'll figure out where we are soon enough. Here's Sterling's, and he's on his flying lap once again, trying to improve his time. You can see he's fourth on the qualifying board here just as time runs out. Not going to be able to get the time in. Fortunately for him, not going to be able to improve that position as we head to the RaceSpotTV starting grid. Scott McIntyre, you saw the fast lap there, a 117.4. Martina Arnolis out of Club Benelux is going to run second. Sorry for butchering that one. Ollie Peacock going to start third, fourth to Harley Lewis. Then as we scroll down through the rest of your grid here, Andrea Cini is going to start fifth. Stefan Rosegen, the driver, I believe, out of 60 Plus Racing Adventures, is going to start sixth. Seventh to Fabio Berchtold out of Club DH. Eighth to Craig Ridley. We'll look at the rest of your starting grid as cars continuing to take the grid here. 23 cars getting ready to start here from Brands Hatch. Erwin Vanderberg, Marcin Andula, Jean-Michel Noyon, and Danilo Sanfilippo. Man, we are butchering a lot. I do apologize. Ari Sejas, Luis Canel, Breton Parker, and Gabriel Perez round out 16 cars. Rest of your field. Jim Brewster, Urs Mueller. 19th is Danny Garcia. We saw him earlier on. Lyle Christensen out of Club West. Roy Peretz, 2. Rob Goldstein and Hakan Yelnkaya. We'll go with that. I do apologize once again. Lots of hard and difficult names for me here, so I do apologize for that. But we're waiting on the cars here to roll away from the starting grid. Just waiting moments as they sit in the starting grid, waiting to rev up. Still waiting on a couple more cars as we continue to grid here. Cars popping in at the last possible second. We thank you very much for joining us here on RaceSpotTV. Still waiting on the pole sitter, Scott McIntyre, to hop on the grid. He is the last driver we are waiting on before they will go green and leave and drive away from that starting area. Waiting on McIntyre. He's on, and now the engines begin to rev up as we get set to go racing here. 22 laps from Brands Hatch. The anticipation builds. The green flag is in the air. The lights are out, and we are away here from Brands Hatch. And it gets a fantastic start. It's going to be side by side, but it looks like McIntyre might be able to hold on there as he's able to break away. McIntyre breaks away from the pack here as they go single file through your top three side by side. Harley Lewis gonna try and sneak by and grab that fourth place position right on the rear gearbox of Ollie Peacock, as now that's Luis Canal being shown. He's already down the pit, so never mind that. Scott McIntyre out front early as he gets a huge gap on Martin Ardulis there, as it looks like the field, for the most part, single file down this first half of the lap here as they head down the hill once again towards Hawthorne, down into the braking zone here as they head through Hawthorne's, and you can see already your top two starting to break away from the rest of the field. A side-by-side battle here. That's Ollie Peacock we're watching right there. This whole mess of cars, and it's about fourth on back. So you got Peacock, Lewis, and Cini there, as well as Craig Ridley, and then side-by-side right behind him as that's Vanderberg, who just got a little bit loose going through Sheen, and then as they head down Clearways towards the start-finishing line once again, it looks like the pack's starting to break up. But that first lap going to go into the books here, and Scott McIntyre leading the way here early as we continue to watch that battle. Harley Lewis going at it right now. He'll take fourth place position back here as everybody cycles through the field. It's going to be Ollie Peacock versus Harley Lewis, the closest and most interesting battle on the racetrack right now as we watch these two rocket up towards Druids once again, slow through the chicane there, or the hairpin as it were, down Grand Hill Bend into Graham Hill Corner and down the Cooper Straight once again as we head towards Surtsey. Great battle for these two and for right behind them as well, as that's Cini and Ridley going at it right behind these guys as well. So two battles kind of right next to each other. You can see just out the rear wing, just under the rear wing of Harley Lewis, you can see Cini back there. He's got his own demon story about Andrea does as these cars continue to run through once again and down the hill once into Westfield here in that very weird kind of double apex as you kind of head into Dingle-Dell. Of course, the chicane that used to be there, no longer there, as now these cars rocket up towards Sheen once again, and Sterling's as they head under the bridge. Ooh, a little bit of an issue there back in about 9th and 10th, a big brake lockup. That's Ollie Peacock has fallen down several times. We'll take a look at the replay here and see what happened to the driver of the number 5 car. Just got all sorts of out of shape out of Westfield. Spin and win, apparently, though, for Peacock. Amazingly, didn't make too much contact. As we cut back to the live picture, Hugo, I'll tell you what, because he's the only person I can talk to up here, it's a hornet's nest right behind him. 5 cars all jostling for those positions as they're able to hold on to it as they head through Druids once again. It is absolutely just potluck. For about 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, we're on board with Gabriel Perez as just a massive race cars trying to merge their way through Graham Hill Bend. Finally, they get it sorted out there, but it was absolutely cutthroat there for a moment as finally everybody able to take a brief respite as you watch kind of from on board the number 9 of San Filippo, who's kind of at the back of this battle. He'll take a look to driver's right. And he'll take a look into this bend here. Not going to be able to do it. The gap closed off by Jean-Michel there in that number 7 car right in front of us. And unfortunately not able to make that battle happen, as though he got a little bit loose. So here comes San Filippo down to the inside. This will be right into Sheen. Can he hold on to it? Yes, he can. Grabs that position. A great pass by Danilo San Filippo as he's able to hold on to it there as they head down towards Clearways and Clark Curve once again. Fantastic battle between those two. Just in front of them, you can see a battle starting to form here with Marcin Andula and Gabriel Perez right in front of him. See that black and the dark red car right in front of these guys on the brakes. Oh, car just to the right side there. I believe that was the lap down machine of Urs Bueller. Yes, it was. That was the number 18. Off the pace, 2 laps down is that driver, so he's not going to be able to do much of anything there. But that car very slow, and you can see a little bit of damage on that car out of the rear wing, so nothing going on there. Back to Ollie Peacock in this battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. We got Andrea, Craig, and Ollie here trying to grab this one spot outside the podium finishers at the moment. We scroll up to the top side. You can see the running order of the current series right now across the top of your screen 4 at a time, as Ollie Peacock right on the rear gearbox of Craig Ridley trying to make something happen. The driver out of the UKNI looking for a little bit of toe. Using that arrow, the problem is using the aerodynamics as he is, you have to worry about arrow push, and that's really tough on some of these double apex corners. We head through Sterling's once again. The problem is you get so much of a run that car tightens up, so you have to be careful. But a great run for Peacock. He's going to look to driver's right. Not going to happen as they head through Curve. A great dive, but not going to happen this time. No, he will. He'll stick the nose in as they go side by side towards turn number 1 once again. Paddock Hill Bend. Is it going to be Peacock? Yes, he will. He has the preferred line. He'll clear. No, not quite. They're still side by side. Now he gets it. Clear is Ollie Peacock. Fantastic battling there for the driver out of Club UKNI, able to hold on to that position. He chops off Craig Ridley, who falls back to 6th, and I think Ridley got a little bit tight, and that's all it took. His car slow to the left side once again. He heads off the racetrack. That's Roy Prewett there. Another lap down machine, nothing too much to worry about. He will send it back to the garage area. Yeah, you can see he was off track there, so something way wrong for the Gulf Racing colors of that number 20. So he'll take it behind the wall, and unfortunately for Roy, not going to be the finish that he's looking for on pit road. We'll jump back up to the battle because it's starting to heat up. Scott McIntyre is getting tracked down, and that gap is about to half a second. It's right behind him. Arnoldus is closing in. The driver out of Club Benelux trying to chase down the driver 4th in your point standings there out of Club Canada. closing once again. It's just been a fantastic run. I think McIntyre had the breakneck speed out of the gate, but I think Martin is a little bit faster on pace overall, and maybe just using his equipment a little bit better. So we'll monitor this battle as they continue to close up, but we'll jump back to Ollie Peacock, because guess what? The driver of the 5 is on the attack once again, right on the rear gearbox. This try of Cini, he'll take a look to driver's right, heading into Druids, and he'll grab that position nice and easy here. So Peacock up another position, the driver who has definitely looked the most racy out of everybody here. And a fantastic pass out of over the driver out of Club Italy. Not able to hold on. Meanwhile, looks like problems with Harley Lewis going to fall back. Oh, yep, that's a big problem as he goes more off the racetrack there. That is game over. Here's the replay. Oh, he just got way loose. Got the gas point all sorts out of shape out of Graham Hill. You see, spins it, gets it back going here, and we'll let it run. But he gets taken 3 wide there, and I think at that point Lewis said, I'm about done with that. You can see the wheel hop there of the car and just snaps back to him. So unfortunately, some leftover damage from Harley Lewis. That car on pit road, that is game, set, match for the driver who came into today. 2nd place in your overall points. That's going to be massive implications. The driver out of Club Canada. Continuing to watch this battle, Cini versus Peacock, as they've kind of evened out at the moment. So your numbers 5 and 2 drivers will gooch up their way through the running order here as Harley Lewis gets sent towards the bottom of the tables here, dropping down. He should finish, it looks like, about 19th for those curious. So with that, because of that issue that we saw with Lewis, Scott McIntyre has just opened up, has been able to open up about 1.9 seconds on Martin here. So unfortunately, our duelist not going to be able to be nearly as close to McIntyre as he was hoping. Not sure what happened to the driver of the 4, but through all that calamity with Lewis, our duelist just, I don't know if he lost it. I'm assuming he lost the back end, because he's lost so much time, and unfortunately nowhere near where your leader is at the moment. This is one of the closest battle. We'll drop back actually to Craig Ridley, starting to close up on Stefan Rosjen, driver of the number 12 here. That's starting to close up a little bit, and just as I say that, they open up. Craig Ridley, a little bit of a mistake here, but Ridley trying to make every lap count here, trying to chase down the driver out of Club Diach, as looks like Rosjen going to be able to hold on at least for the moment here, as everybody's starting to stabilize. We're kind of past that initial blitz point of when these races start to get a little bit crazy. So now everybody starts to kind of find their pace and work their way up or down the tables as we go here. Another close battle we're going to keep an eye on, as well as Brenton Parker and R.E. Sejas for your 13th and 14th position, the car number 14. That's another close battle there, but within a second or so. So we'll keep monitoring these guys as well to see what's going on here. But Parker trying to close in and grab that 13th place position, the driver out of Florida, and Sejas just trying to hold on, the driver out of Hispanoamerica, as he's actually, they both go a little bit wide there through Graham Hill Bend. So unfortunately not the way these guys wanted that to go, but nonetheless they continue to ride at the moment back for your 13th place position. That's where they're going to be fighting. How about a little battle pack, a little peloton, as we got Gabriel Perez starting to lose some time to Martin Andula there for your 9th and 10th position. This battle pack starting to form, and Sanfilippo back there as well. Danilo is going to have an interesting look as Perez going to go off wide, and just like that, Andula going to be right there on the gearbox. And oh no, here we go. This is going to be traffic jam. They got to try and figure out their way past everybody as they head through the final turn once again. Jim Clark curve as they go. And they managed to sort it all out. That was going to be disaster here in a moment. I believe that was, yes, Lyle Christensen, the slow vehicle in that whole knot of cars. But luckily they all managed to make it through that, as Fabio Berchtold is right in front of Gabriel Perez. So now the 8th place position could play a factor here, as it's Berchtold, Perez, Dulo, and Sanfilippo in this 4-car peloton here. We're working lap number 9 of 22 here from Brands Hatch. Still doing an excellent job. That's the closer of the cars in this peloton here. So we ride on board with Gabriel Perez. You can see the gap starting to close a little bit. And you can see Berchtold already going for the defensive line there. He'll actually apex out I think just trying to break that draft a little bit with Perez, making sure that the driver out of Club Iberia isn't able to close in on him, but it's not quite working. You can see the gap closing in for Perez as they head through once again up towards, that was through Dingledell and Sheen, and now into Sterling's here, closing in once again. But actually, no. Perez, that gap's starting to maintain a little bit, so Birchtold might be a little bit better on that second half of the racetrack here as more issues. Arhi Sejas falling off the racetrack. We'll take a look at the race spot replay, find out what happened here. Driver who was running up in that top 10 or so, not sure what happened. Oh, yep, that's a little bit of contact there. And Sejas going to go around. He'll end up on pit road, so not the way that he was having a decent run right there, decent fight. Fortunately for Sejas, another night done for him as well. So with that, we'll jump back to this battle with Perez because he's continuing to close. And it's weird because you look, it's a little bit of an optical illusion. You saw all those cars going wide on Graham Hill Bend. That is still a raceable part of the racetrack, maybe not necessarily where you'd want to be, but more of a cobbled, broken up grass area instead of pavement. But you can still run over there. So you can see all those drivers apexing out into that corner using all of the running room, very similar to what the NASCAR guys are doing over at the Roval this weekend, using a little bit extra of the racetrack. You have a lot of those opportunities here at Brands Hatch. Is actually Perez trying to close on Birchtold, but truth be told, Marcin Andula is actually closing more on the rear gearbox of Gabriel Perez. That's probably going to be the bigger battle here, as Perez just trying to play a little bit of both sides, play some defense and offense, but Perez falling back just a little bit. He gets a little bit loose going through Jim Clark curve here, and I think Andula might be able to get a little bit of a toe this time. You can see looking to the outside, trying to use the draft, but get some clean air to that car, see if he can find any sort of run there, as Perez gets a little bit wide through there, a little piece of the dirt there, and just like that, Andula right on the rear gearbox. They head through Druids once again and down Graham Hill and into Graham Hill Bend once again. You can see those drivers running out a little bit, and Andula actually going to use a little bit of grass. Another car off there, that's Erwin Vanderberg. It's Vanderberg off in the grass. Problems for the driver of the number 11. Not sure what happened to that car. We'll take a look at the replay, and he got Graham Hill all wrong. See, the problem with using that cobbled area, it's easy to lose where the front of the race car is, and that's exactly what happened. Got a little more grass than he was hoping for, and the who was the second highest running driver out of Club Benelux, he falls way down in your order, running 11th right now. And that kind of broke up the pack with Andula and Perez just a little bit. Drivers making caution not to run into the driver with the slower time there. So it kind of spread all these guys out here. And Andula's back to about 0.8 of a second behind Perez. Perez about 0.6 behind Birchtold. So we'll have to see how that cycles out. But the battle for the lead starting to heat up once again, because Martina Ardulas once again caught our leader Scott McIntyre. And McIntyre only about 0.6 away from Ardulas for that battle for second. Here comes some lap traffic, actually. This could throw a wrench into everything as we jump ahead. There's the lap traffic. I believe that's Lyle Christensen. Nope, that was Yelchkaya there in the number 23 machine, the lowest ranked driver of the race here today. So with that, McIntyre, you can see him lose a little bit of draft, and yep, you can look at the lap times right there. And Duelis has been on fire. Remember, that was a 1.6 second gap, a 1.8 even. And just like that, the driver out of Club Benelux closing in once again as we head through Sterling's and down towards Clearways and Clark Curve once again. Just past the halfway point of this already, so Ardula's picking a very good time for that car to come alive. I'm almost worried that McIntyre maybe scrubbed a little bit too much speed off of that race car and of those tires and went a little bit too hard at the beginning. He opened up such a big gap, but it doesn't matter. This race is long enough. You're not going to have a caution flag, but you can't afford to give up that time as we head through Druids once again and down Graham Hill and into Graham Hill Bend. But it's just been a fantastic run by the driver of that number 4 car. McIntyre, keep in mind, your number 1 ranked driver in this room here has got about, I'd say, about 900 I rating on Martin here, or 1100, I should say. So unfortunately, actually, I can't do math. That's 1900. Hugo looks at me, glaring at me for my terrible math. Apparently, I'm picking it up from James Pike. So I can blame James for that one. But nonetheless, that gap actually starting to, ooh, never mind. I was going to say it was going to stabilize just a little bit, but McIntyre, no, he gets a little bit loose, and just like that, they head through Sheen once again up towards Sterling's, and Arndulis is going to be there, so we'll just have to watch and see what happens here as side by side back for that 8th place position. That whole battle pack is continuing. Berchtold loses that 8th place position, gets a little bit closer with Sanfilippo, and yeah, no, he's going to lose that position as well. So Sanfilippo going to get by. Well, he was going to try, but Berchtold not done with him yet. Still on the outside as they head through Sterling's once again. Nope, that time the door is shut, so Ndula going to be able to hold on to that position. And Sanfilippo as well, as Sanfilippo now going to have to play a little bit of defense here with Fabio Berchtold, as Ndula and Perez are going to be content to have their own battle here. So we'll watch these guys a little bit, still keeping an eye on your leaders, but they're about half a second still separated. So once that breaks into about the 2/10 mark, we'll jump back up there side by side. Ooh, man, Berchtold was trying to get everything he could going through Paddock Hill, but not going to happen as they head down Graham Hill. And this time, once again, you can see Berchtold, he's got the right line to attack. He just doesn't have the speed. And unfortunately, I just don't think he's going to be able to make that pass happen. You can see riding on board with him right now. We head through Surtees once again and down up the hill, then down the hill into Pilgrim's Drop. He's got the right line, but he just doesn't have the closing rate that he needs to be able to attack. And Berchtold's going to be content, I think, just to sit behind Sanfilippo, maybe try and force a mistake out of the driver of that number 9. So as it sits right now, nothing really going in that battle at the moment. Just in front of these guys, Ndula and Perez continuing. They're the closer of that, what's left of that battle pack. Ndula right on the rear gearbox. So you can see Perez got all sorts out of shape there through Sterling. We might have something here for Ndula as he comes into the final corner here. Clark curve onto the Brabham straight. Ooh, no, he gets a little bit into the grass. That was a little bit too much there. Ndula tried to go for the three-pointer and just fortunately just airballed it there, but he still stays with Perez. He's able to hold on as they head through turn number 1. Once again, Paddock Hill bend down Hale Woods Hill into Druids. No, he's just not able to close in. He's right there, but Perez just gets such a good run off the corner. Ndula not able to do anything there. Quick note on your leaders, by the way, the gap has reopened up to about 6/10 or so nothing really going on there. You can see McIntyre's still doing well to get around lap traffic, but just as I say that, all sorts out of shape. He slowed down trying to get around the lap car, and well, just as I say that, commentator's curse, Arndula's right there on the rear gearbox. McIntyre has got to run. He's got to run now because Martin is there and looking for that position to extend that points gap. Remember, this is the battle between your drivers 1st and 4th in points. And Ardulis here, the leader of this points table as they sit right now, could stand to have a good points day as it sits at the moment, but keep in mind McIntyre still wants to, if he can get max points out of here, not quite in range to be able to change the points table as it sits right now, but he's only about 60 points or so away, so more runs like this can certainly help, and he just needs a little bit of bad luck out of Arndulis' case to see if he can make something happen. So these two very close right now, but McIntyre just seems to be able to turn on the jets when he needs to, and that's what he's done so far as we work lap number 16 here. About 8.5 minutes left in this race as it sits estimated for us right now. But opening up that gap, yeah, McIntyre just seems to have, he's got the nitrous bottle or something fitted, so he's able to pull away. But Arndulis, I think Arndulis, Arnoldus. Thank you, Hugo. I think that's close. So Arnoldus, as it sits right now, I think has a little bit more of a consistent pace where McIntyre is able to pull away, but just for whatever reason keeps running into mistakes. You can see the lap time there. You can see small gain, huge loss, small gain. And that's really been the story of these two at the moment here as they cross and start lap number 17 here, about 7.5 minutes left to go. We'll go back to that battle with Ndula and Perez while these two continue to maintain the gap. Again, if they get a little bit more frisky, we'll head back up there. But as it sits right now, Ndula right on the rear gearbox once again of Gabriel Perez, where he's been for the last couple laps here. If you are curious, Fabio and Danilo for that 9th, 10th right behind these guys. They have opened up the gap a little bit more, so not really much of a battle there. So this is the closest battle on your racetrack as it sits at the moment. And Dula right on the gearbox as they go around the lap machine. I believe that is, yes, Lyle Christensen, who actually got a little bit of dirt there, trying to get out of their way. So giving them all the racetrack in the world. Perez gets a little bit squirrely. You can see just a poof of dirt there as he kind of falls off the racetrack just a little bit. And Dula, meanwhile, just had a very good corner there. Lost a little bit more time, so Perez able to open up that gap as well. We said we're going to go back when it's within 2/10, and that's exactly what it is right now. Arnoldus, once again, just fantastic job of just slowly closing that gap and just playing the consistency game. McIntyre has got to be sweating a little bit. Time is running out. Can he hold off the points leader here with just a handful of laps to go as they begin to work lap number 18 here from Brands Hatch? The rear gearbox. Oh, that's not going to work at all. The arrow push not in favor of Arnoldus there as he goes into Druid's missed paddock hill, but managed somehow that he didn't pay too much for it. So just like that, the gap opens up once again. It's almost a case, at least it seems to me, is that Arnoldus has a little bit better of a run. Yeah, name 6x0. Yeah, thank you, Hugo, for that one. Arnoldus seems to have the consistent pace that's a little bit better, but he just can't. He just can't put a full attack together. We saw the replay there a little bit earlier on of just him kind of falling off the racetrack. But again, it's a case where he has the speed, but whether it's arrow push or whether it's consistency, he just can't get the job done. And it's been saving Scott McIntyre right now. And for McIntyre, this is a fantastic points day if he can hold on. As we continue to pound around. Oh, just like that, lap car in the way. And just like that, it all goes out the window. It's number 23 once again. Yelchin Kaya got in the way of Scott McIntyre. Well, here's the replay. We can find out what happened. Scott McIntyre, you can see he comes around, and this is heading up towards Sterling's once again. And preferred line here, remember, you're apexing out, and oh, right in the path. Nowhere Scott McIntyre could go. Just like that, this whole thing could be open and shut just like that. Scott McIntyre is not going to be happy with the lap machine of Yelchin Kaya. And oh dear. So that is just like that, the lead swaps. And the consistent speed, I think, of Arnoldus here is going to just allow him to just gap the rest of the field at this point, because we've seen he's been faster, and it's been the attacks that's where it's gone wrong. He doesn't need to attack anymore. Scott McIntyre, meanwhile, needs to turn on the jets and fast, because he is running out of time, working lap number 19. Only 3 laps to go here from Brands Hatch. Continue to pound around the racetrack here. We'll see Yelchin Kai still on the racetrack right now, so he's not pulled it down pit road, but we'll jump back. Andrea Genie there and Stefan Rosgen. That's starting to close up a little bit. That'll be a battle for 4th, so we'll keep an eye on that. We jump back, of course, to Andula and Perez, who still have not left each other. They'll be sending each other Christmas cards at this rate, because they've seen each other pretty much this entire race. Also, Sanfilippo has... we mentioned that he had pulled away from Fabio Berchtold. Well, he's pulled up right almost to the rear gearbox of Marcin Andula here. So this could be a 3-car scrap for what would be that 7th place position if Sanfilippo has enough speed to be able to grab both of those positions. Head through Bramham Straight once again here. Time running out, about 3.5 minutes estimated here. Just a handful of laps to go, and you can see Yelchin Kaya there on the right side of the road, just letting everybody go. I think if you're a lap car in that scenario, it's going to be one of those cases where you have an incident like that. You don't want to be that guy. You just want to let everybody go at this point. Then you watch these two battles. Sanfilippo right on the rear gearbox. He's been closing in, and he could stand an opportunity to attack here. Just a handful of laps to go. Still there, trying to look for an attack down towards Hawthorne. Once again, they head down the drop, down Pilgrim's Drop into Hawthorne Hill. Take a look to the right-hand side, but nothing this time. Continues to ride around. Still time running out for these drivers. Can he be able to make that attack happen? Does he have enough left in the tank to be able to make that attack happen here? Still 2 laps to go when they cross the finish, when they cross the line here. So still enough time left in this race to be able to make that attack happen. We mentioned, what was Arnoldus going to be able to do with that gap? Yeah, he's gone. He is gone. It is 1.8 now over the leader, as he has been able to just pull away as we continue to watch that battle with Perez. Nothing really going on with your leaders. They take 2 laps to go this time, and now Andula going to try and make the attack happen as they head into Paddock Hill Bend. Nothing going to happen there as they head down Halewoods Hill now and up into Druids. What can Andula do? Can he get enough of an attack here? Could this be a 2-for-1 special? We'll have to see. San Filippo, meanwhile, behind these two, just with the popcorn out, just waiting to see what happens. They head through Graham Hill Bend once again and into Surtees. Still hanging on, just fleeting moments left. What does Andula have? He gets a little bit loose out of Surtees there, and they head down the longest straight of the day into Pilgrim's Drop they go. What does Andula have left for Perez? Down into Hawthorne Hill, into Hawthorns. Still right there, can't make anything happen. Now into Westfield. And now through Dingle Dell, you can see the car get a little bit loose. And Andula lost a little bit of time. That allowed San Filippo to close in now. So now he's right to the gearbox. Oh, he dived through Sheen that time, and he's right there. Andula right on the rear gearbox of Perez. The leader takes the white flag. This is the best battle on the racetrack. They said 3 cars have a shot at this 7th place position. They head through Clark Curve once again onto the Brabham Straight. Final lap of the race here from Brands Hatch. Who has anything left? Do we see a desperate dive for anybody else? So you take a look at the leader. He's wide open, but there's San Filippo. He'll dive. No, he won't. He's not able to grab that position and tried the move up through Paddock Hill Bend, just not able to make it happen, and got a little bit sketchy there, but wasn't able to hold on to it. Where's Arnoldus there? Arnoldus there? He's flying right now. Nothing to worry about through Sheen now, or actually that's Westfield now, through Dingle Dell and into Sheen now. He is gone. He has done a fantastic job, though with a little bit of luck he was able to grab that position, but has been fast all day long. Has one of the fastest laps, not the fastest lap, but still one of the fastest laps on record. The points leader going to look to extend that points lead today as he heads down Clearways and into Clark Curve. Martin Arndolis is going to be able to bring home the victory here from Brands Hatch. He'll win round number 3 in what was a barn burner of a race. Scott McIntyre, what could have been, is going to finish second. Not exactly the happiest driver, but we go back to the battle with Perez. There's the pass. Andula was able to get it through Sterling's. Do we see anything happen in the final corner? What's going to happen? Do they make it? Ooh, Perez tried to fire it up the inside. Not able to do it. San Filippo is able to grab that block there and is able to hold off. Andula rather was able to hold off. Oh man, I'm all sorts of scrambled. It was Andula, San Filippo, and Perez. That final 3 there, a fantastic battle out of those 3. And I'm showing a little bit of my rust, but fantastic battle between all those drivers. Let's run you through your full race results here. Martin's able to grab the victory. Arnoldus gets the victory, extends that points gap over the rest of the field. Scott McIntyre finishes second. Ali Peacock going to finish third. Fourth to Stefan Rosejen. Fifth is going to be Andrea Gini. 6th is going to be Craig Ridley. Martin Andula is going to finish 7th. 8th going to go to Danilo Sanfilippo. Gabriel Perez is going to finish 9th, and 10th to Fabio Berchtold. 11th going to be Jean-Michel Noyon. Brenton Parker going to finish 12th. Lyle Christensen going to finish 13th. Hakan Yalchinkaya is going to probably be getting an angry personal message, I would assume, and he's going to finish 14th. Erwin Vanderberg is going to finish 15th. Ari Sejas is going to finish 16th. Lewis Canal going to finish 17th. 18th to Harley Lewis. 19th to Danny Garcia. Rob Goldstein going to finish 20th. Urs Mueller is going to finish 21st. 22nd to Roy Prewitt. Jim Brewster are going to round out your 23 cars here from Brands. Well, it's a fast and furious race here. Of course, next race for these cars starting up next week, Monday night on the East Coast. It's going to be Bathurst, a week of Bathurst, and then we come back and join you live here for round number 5 from Hugo's home track in Interlagos. Definitely looking forward to that one here on RaceSpotTV. So forward to that, 2:20 GMT. If you are curious, of course, same time, same channel. It's actually the next scheduled video here on RaceSpotTV. So if you are curious, that's where you can find all that info. But with that, we're going to say goodnight here from Kent, UK. My name is Cisco Scaramuza, and for Hugo Luis, Will Vincent, everybody behind the scenes, of course, Esteban Bello, TrackCams22.com, and the Track Cam Master, as it were. We say goodnight here from Brands Hatch. We'll see you around the next turn. Take it easy. Good night.